All right, today we're in section 6.8, the counting principle on page 313. We are going to learn two different ways to find total number of possibilities, or to count the number of possibilities given a combination of different categories. All right, so let's read this first example together. It's right up here on the board. It's an eyeglass example. So glasses, you wear glasses on your face to help you see better. You're buying new eyeglasses and you must choose the frame, material, and shape. So the frame material can be plastic or metal, and the shape can be rectangle, oval, cat's eye, or round. They want to know how many different frames are possible. Now there's two ways to find the total possibilities. In example 1, we're learning how to do that using a tree diagram. It uses branching to list the choices. All right, so what are my categories for this tree diagram? What are the categories that this problem gives us?
Frame material,
the frame material and the frame shape. Okay, so this is what your tree diagram would look like, the setup. You have your first category, which is the frame materials. In your first category, you want to use the category that has the fewest number of options, okay? So that's why we start off with, it could be plastic or it could be metal. Then your second section, or your second category, would be the frame shapes. Well, there's 4 different shapes. So it can be plastic rectangular, plastic oval, plastic cat's eye, plastic round. You do not have to do this part, okay? But this just shows you what that would be if you actually wrote out the possibility, okay? This is the part that I want to see on your homework. Number 7 is a tree diagram, I know. And then you may not have another tree diagram. You may just have that one. You're welcome. Okay? All right, so that's how you would do it. I want you to go ahead and write this down on your notes. So go ahead and copy this tree diagram. Okay, so there are how many total possibilities? 8 total possibilities, and I can see that clearly in the way that they're listed. Now, that's how I use a tree diagram, okay? Now, there is a much quicker and simpler way to find total number of possibilities, and that's through what we call the counting principle. The counting principle uses what operation? Multiplication to find the number of possible ways 2 or more events can occur. Okay? And you can even do it for 3 events or 4 events or 5 events. What operation? Multiplication. Okay? So let's look at this example. It says you roll a blue and a red number cube. All right, now here's the work that I want you to show in your homework. This part you don't necessarily have to show, but I'm going to show you on the slide just so you see, which category is which. How many sides are there on a number cube? 6. So you agree there's 6 sides on the blue one. And then how many sides do you think there are on the red one? 6. What operation did I say? Multiplication. What's 6 times 6?
36.
That's your answer. You take the number of possibilities from each category, you multiply them together, and that's your answer. All right, now I want you to do the same thing for this one. You roll yellow, blue, and red. Use the counting principle to find the number of different outcomes. I want you to show me what you multiply by. Don't just tell me the answer. Show me what you're multiplying. Okay, so the yellow one. Okay, the yellow one was how many possibilities? 6. The blue one was?
6.
And the red one was?
6.
Oh, I don't like those numbers.
216.
All right, 216. 216. Who got 216? All right. So now in the next one, okay, how many categories are there?
4.
So 4. So you just multiply 6 4 times, okay, and you get, I think it's 1256. All right, so counting principle. Now I want you to find the answer to this. How many different outcomes are possible? All right, write what you multiply and then write your answer when you flip a coin and roll a number cube. All right, so how many sides are there to the coin?
2.
And how many sides are there to the number cube?
6.
So it's 12. All right, now, example 3 talks about finding what? Finding, what's that word? Probability. So this ties in what we learned in 6.7. Now, what is the fraction or the formula for finding probability? It is what kind of outcomes?
Unfavorable.
Favorable over total. Favorable over total. Now, if you're thinking odds in favor or against, that's the favorable over unfavorable or the other way around. But probability is favorable outcomes over total outcomes. Well, let's read this example and then we'll find the probability. It says combination lock has 40 numbers on its dial. To open the lock, you turn it to the right, then you turn it to the left, then you turn it back to the right. You randomly choose how many numbers? 3 on the lock. What is the probability that you will choose the correct combination? All right, so how many numbers are on the dial? 40. How many times do you turn it? 3. Okay, so let me ask you this. If you turn it to the right, how many possible numbers are there? 40. If you turn it to the left, how many possible numbers can you land on? 40. And then if you turn it back to the right, how many numbers can you land on? 40. So that's why you use the counting principle to do 40 times 40 times 40. Okay? That will give you, nothing in this word problem tells me a total. To find probability, I have to have a total. What is the total? 64,000. Okay, write it on your notes. 64,000. Now that I have a total, remember the formula for probability. Favorable, and we're shortening it, that's okay, over possible. Well, I know possible, 64,000. How many combinations are going to open that lock, though? 1. That's my answer. Favorable over possible. Only 1 out of 64,000. You're going to be there a long time if you're guessing, aren't you? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So that's not very good odds. All right, if you understand that, I believe, that is everything you need to know for 6.8.